with culture you don't want to integrate yourself so much as being a part of it. Respect it, but don't, if you take it too much on board, I think it leads to a route of a lot of sadness. He doesn't like an outsider coming in.
Can you introduce yourself?
So, my name's Peter, I'm 31. I've been living in Tokyo for about 6 or 7 years. I come from Southeast UK, Canterbury, and I work as a creative director in Tokyo and internationally in VR and 360.
You know, so when it comes to England and Japan, I know they're very different. Please talk about how different.
Okay. I feel like Japan and England are pretty similar in lots of ways. Like reserved culture. England has quite a reserved culture. The weather is hotter in Japan, but like overall, you have the seasons. I think it's pretty similar overall, but it's just people and culture. The little bits of the differences of like season, heat, and everything like that. But I'd say compared to other Western cultures, like very individualistic culture. And of course, we have that in the UK, but it just feels more. People are nice, people are friendly. It feels like, and the weather's terrible in the UK. But just nicer in Japan, better hot seasons.
Lifestyle is different.
Lifestyle is different, but I think
People are more up in.
I think lifestyle is different with Japan in any country, because the thing that makes lifestyle different in Japan is just convenience. Number one is convenience of like public transport, like its reliability, even like buses, trains, everything like that, and like day-to-day living convenience of like vending machines. Like if you're in Japan, it's one thing to make yourself enjoy by being in Japan. It's like, I don't think there's a point of living in Japan if you're not using the vending machines or anything like that, because it's part of the enjoyment of being here is like that convenience, you know? Convenience stores everywhere. You'll find convenience stores like 3 or 4 right next to each other, and they can be like 7-Eleven, Lawson, whatever, all right next to each other, and they never go out of business, right? Because everyone wants convenience. I'd say even like when it comes down to living as well, so like my bills and my apartment, everything like that, I pay at the convenience store, and the convenience store is like what, a 2-minute walk from where I live. Instead of, you can set it up like direct debit and everything like that, but what's the point when you're gonna go to the convenience store anyway, you know? It's a very on-demand culture, but not in the ways that the West is. I would say there's certain aspects that the West is far better. Like Uber's only just coming in Japan, right? It's only just becoming like bigger in Japan, and lots of other on-demand things Japan hasn't been open to. So like Spotify didn't have that for years. All those other things, and like credit card transactions and the way you use your card, still got a cash culture, which is, they got PayPay and everything, you can use your phone to pay, but like no, Google Wallet I don't think is supported, PayPal isn't supported in stores, lots of things Westerners would rely upon, Postmates, anything like that, don't have. They do have Uber Eats, they have that now. That's all changing, it's all changing over the years.
So you're independent in Japan, right?
Yeah, I'm independent.
Right, which is, for me, is like something very courage.
Yeah,
Yeah,
be brave.
Yeah, so because I've seen a lot of people are stuck in, and when they stuck, they get really tired and a lot of stuff, you know?
Yeah.
And as you've just mentioned here, when you get into trouble in Japan, people don't understand how to handle you, what they should do.
That's the best way to put it, I think. They don't know how to handle you. Maybe not be that they don't want to help you, but like they're not equipped with, so they're more likely to shy away and push themselves away from you, rather than to stick it out and help you.
Yeah, and try to be with you and try to find out. They get scared.
Yeah,
you know.
So that's the really big thing, I think, is because Japan's a group culture, but the more you stay here, the more you'll find out how individualistic it is in other aspects of your life. So like that. And so for example, I've seen so many people, like accidents, people falling over, everything like that. I saw a man an old man fall over, crack his head open, and nobody wants to help him. Everyone's going to work, they don't want to mess up their life and time or anything like that. They don't want to help him. He's like bleeding. He hit his head on the step. He's bleeding on the step, so it takes me to go over, like pick him up, get train attendants, get whatever, right? And so you'll find those different situations where Japanese don't want to engage. They're individualistic. That's you and that's me. It's not a group culture in those things. Yeah, and it's like I see that a lot with like medical services and things. I feel like the medical service here is terrible. It's slow because they don't want they're worried about being invasive, and like in medical situations where you need people just to handle stuff, you need to let that go, you know? I mean, there's been cases of doctors doing CPR on women and having to like take the, you know, like to get in and everything like that to the chest, and because they undid their blouse so they could do it effectively, they get like lawsuits and things like that. So I like it sweet though, you know, like the
Sweet.
yeah, especially like when you have sushi and they have like the sauce that goes with eel. You know, it's very sweet and thick. You know. Okay.
So I can see you're working out and you do a lot of sports, right?
Yeah, I don't do a lot of sports. I just work out at the moment. So I do calisthenics. I don't do any weights. I just do body weight training. So like lots of chin-ups, lots of precarious positions to get yourself in a place where your body weight is gonna like build up your body overall, right? And so it's like just everything incorporated all in one. So lots of chin-ups, lots of push-ups, squats, and lots of other crazy things in between. So yeah.
How do you motivate yourself to keep doing this?
I think it's best to get into a routine. Like, don't think you have to put yourself in a period where you train yourself for like a good 2 weeks of just a routine, and then once you have the routine, it just becomes second nature. That's the hardest thing to obtain, though, I feel like. So like, instead of pushing yourself and motivating yourself to do something, motivate yourself to get the routine down. Like, I have to do this. Like for 2 weeks, I have to do this, and then after 2 weeks, it should stick with you. That's the hardest thing I've found with like working out, definitely. And with anything in life, I feel like it's like that. You've got to force yourself to do it for like 2 weeks. Because motivation comes and goes. Passion for things comes and goes. Kabocha, pumpkin. It's crazy because in Japan they eat the skin of the pumpkin too, which is good. You have to just put everything on rice, then you can't get to the rice.
Right. So what do you enjoy eating then? That's my joy.
I love spicy food, but I can't handle it. I just can't handle it, but I really like it. It's a detriment to myself, right? Anything that's kind of like wholesome and hearty. I like a lot of pastries and things like that, which is kind of hard in Japan because you don't really get that. A lot of pastries, a lot of bakery goods. I'm British, so yeah. It's harder to obtain in Japan, like good quality stuff that's not an arm and a leg to buy. It's not too expensive to buy. Lots of fried food. Japan's good at the fried food too, so tempura is awesome. Spicy food and wholesome, hearty, savory food like pies and pastries and things like that. I love to eat.
I would like to know more about your experience background. I have seen actually some of your very creative work, so I think people will be very happy also to know about this. It's very new, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's not as well known. It's definitely a lot more prominent now. For example, like companies like GoPro, they have 360 cameras now. But yeah, overall experience, I've worked in VR, everything from development, consultation, to promotional media. And at the moment, I'm just really taking off, or really putting a lot of my passion and effort more into just 360 media instead of the VR side, because I got kind of tired of just being in the studios in VR. With VR, I specialized media-wise in mixed reality, which is obviously putting the real world with the virtual world, doing promotions and things like that. The main reason for me wanting to transition from VR into 360 is I wanted to travel more. I wanted to be outside of studios and not stuck behind a computer 24/7. But like 360 media was a way to extend the videography part of it in a technology that I love, and then to go out into the world more.
And do you think it's good for the travel industry? Definitely.
I think 360 media is just a new type of media that fills a niche that can't be conveyed by other medias. You can do a lot, especially location-based things. You can convey a lot of information in the same field of view, right? I mean, you've seen like the whole Tiny Planet field of views, like where it looks like the world and everything like that. There's a lot you can do. But like, yeah, 360 media for like virtual tours, tour operations, location-based stuff. I think 360 media fills a niche that can't be conveyed in other formats.
So in Japan, you've been living here for 7 years. How is it? How is it so far? Let's start with living.
Living can be difficult. You have to adapt a lot. I myself have to adapt a lot, like smaller living spaces, everything like that. Just not at first being able to do everything that you might want to do and having to put up with things and then learning how to do it again. Overall though, I'd say the main thing that does get to me is just space and the price you pay for space. And like being a big guy or tall guy in Japan, that's definitely something that is on my mind a lot. I've wanted to move outside of Tokyo a lot just to get more space. Just never really done it though, because like Tokyo is still the hub of like business.
About the culture.
Culture is something I try to respect but not integrate myself into. So I feel like one of the main benefits you can have as being a foreigner is bringing something new to the table with business and culture. Culture, you don't want to integrate yourself so much as being a part of it. Respect it, but don't. If you take it too much on board, I think it leads to a route of a lot of sadness, especially as like an outsider coming in. There's many aspects to culture, I think, you know. So you've got business culture, you've got personal culture, and you've got the sort of like traditional aspect of culture as well. So definitely business culture, I try to stay separate and be something unique in that, but still respectful. Traditional, again, I don't conform so much to it, but I do celebrate it. And then personal culture, I think there's a lot of unnecessary things that happen. Culture can be a hard thing to deal with, because being in Japan for like a year, even if you live here or travel here, it's far different after the first year, and there's a lot of things you're going to deal with that you never expected, right? Yeah, you are going to deal with certain aspects of like racism and things like that. Everything, when people first come to Japan, they have this Disneyland persona that everything's just like, walking to Disneyland, everything's great. And then the longer you stay here, you find it's just like any other country. It still has the dark areas, those dark facets of it. It's just a lot more hidden, there's a lot more face on it. You'll find that if you live there, you know. But I think a lot of people on the internet just love the face as well. It's what makes it pleasant.